Guys, we need to talk about email marketing. We've got to talk about it. Email is one of those old school marketing channels which has been around for a while. I mean, I'm sure anyone older than me will be like, it's not old school, right? Because really it's only been around for as long as the internet's been around. But for people my age and younger, email has been around for a while, yet so many of us sleep on it. It is so powerful. It really has the power to transform your business and literally increase your sales. But even if you're not a business owner and you're a content creator, this video is also going to be of interest to you because email marketing is really the thing what helps you bond with your audience. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm also going to give you my top tips for utilizing email marketing in 2022. So let's get to it. So before we get into it, I do feel like I need to give you a bit of a warning, right? And the warning is that email marketing is very much a specialized skill. Like any big brand that you think of, they have teams who literally specialize in creating email marketing campaigns for that brand. Like it is a job in itself. So if you are like me and you are aware that you may not always possess the skills or the expertise that you need in order to really nail certain parts of your business, such as your email marketing, then I have a platform for you which is going to massively help you out. And that platform is Maple. Now, I've spoken about Maple before because I am such a fan of their platform, but if you've not heard about Maple before, let me tell you a bit about them. They are an incredible company who specialize in pairing expert freelancers, specifically in marketing, with business owners, creators, and entrepreneurs such as yourself. Now, the thing what I love about Maple is that they're backed by AI, so they actually use data and technology to ensure that whichever freelancer they pair you with is the right fit for your business. Not only that though, they actually monitor any work that their freelancer does with you. So it's not like you hire a freelancer and then they just kind of get to work on your email marketing campaign and then you're kind of sitting back crossing your fingers hoping that it works. That's not what Maple do, right? Maple will actually use their own systems to ensure that whatever work your freelancer does for you is being well monitored and is basically going to perform how you want it to perform. So they really stick with you for the whole entire process, and it means that you can rest assured and know that whatever freelancer you end up working with as a result of finding them through Maple is going to be the right effective freelancer for you. So the reason why I wanted to bring up Maple specifically in this video is because they actually have so many freelancers who specialize in email marketing on their platform. So I'm going to head on to Maple's website now and just show you a bit of what I'm talking about, right? So when you head to their website and you go to pricing and services, you can see all of the different expertise that their freelancers have. So for example, pricing, paid advertising, SEO, marketing strategy, etc. But for now, I'm going to click on email marketing. So this takes you to a page which specializes in just focusing on their email marketing freelancers. And what's interesting is that it shows you some of the incredible brands that they work with and who trust them to provide really high quality freelancers to help them with their email marketing. So we've got brands from Victoria's Secret, Unilever, T-Mobile, like huge companies here who trust Maple with their freelancing needs. If you keep on scrolling, then you get to a section which shows you some case studies from some of the marketing freelancers that they work with and some of the incredible results that they've had as a result of helping another company with their email marketing. So Jason, for example, helped Vitamin Energy grow monthly email marketing revenue by 6 times in less than 6 months and increased the amount of revenue that they gained from email marketing to 40% of the total sales from the business. So those are some incredible results, and it just really brings to life what can be achieved when you really nail your email marketing strategy. So if you feel like hiring an expert to help you with your email marketing because you're looking for some real serious impressive results, I 100% recommend checking out Maple. A link to Maple is available in my description, and if you use code JADE300 you get $300 off of your booking with their freelancers. So let me know how it goes. Send me a DM if you end up working with them because I'd love to hear about your experience. So let's kick off these tips by talking a bit about how you actually get people's email addresses. So in order for email marketing to work for your brand or for your personal brand or whatever it is, you need to actually have email addresses to email, right? Sounds obvious, probably because it is. You need email addresses to email. And there is a system, there's a process, there's a strategy that you can incorporate which will make it easier for you to gather email addresses from your audience. The main way to gather your audience's email addresses is to give them something for free. So this is sometimes referred to as a lead magnet, sometimes it's referred to as a freebie. I'm going to choose the word freebie just because it sounds less corporate and official than lead magnet. But what you want to do is come up with a freebie that your audience would want. You then then offer this freebie to your audience, but in order for them to get the freebie, they need to join your mailing list. There's so much else what goes into this. For example, how you actually come up with freebies that your audience would want, but also the actual step-by-step tech side of setting everything up so that when someone joins your mailing list, they get the freebie automatically. If you're looking for a step-by-step kind of play-by-play on that, I say it's a masterclass, but it's kind of like a mini course available on the Creators Club. I'll put a link in the description. But essentially what you want to make sure that you do is that you have the facility to gather email addresses. If you use a platform like ConvertKit, which is the one that I use, again, link in the description, they actually give you the ability to create landing pages where you can gather people's email addresses. You then need to ensure that an email gets sent to anyone who joins your mailing list, and within that email, you have the freebie. So that is the most effective strategy for actually gathering email addresses. If you're a product-based company, another thing that works super well, and when I had a product-based company, this is what I used to do. I used to say to people, if you join my mailing list, you get 10% off your first order. It's a very basic strategy that a lot of other companies still use to this day, and the reason why is because it works, right? It's still the same concept as the freebie concept that I offered before. It's just slightly different. So you're still giving your audience something of value in return for them giving you their email address, but it's maybe not necessarily free. Instead, it's in the form of a discount code. Pick the method which works best for you, but always make sure that you're offering something which is of value. If it's not of value, people will not want it, which means they are not going to give you their email address. Okay, so now that you've got people signing up to your mailing list, which means that you've got a bunch of contacts for you to email, you now need to actually email them. I feel like some people forget about this part. So it's important that you establish a content strategy from the beginning. I would almost recommend you doing this before you even start to gather email addresses, because what a lot of people do is they start to gather email addresses and then they don't email their contacts for months and months on end. And then when they do email them, it's just to sell something to them. You are not using email marketing effectively if this is what you're doing. Like, I cannot stress that enough. You will not get the results that you deserve or you need if you use that method. Instead, you want to spend some time figuring out what your content strategy is going to be. So you want to figure out how often you're going to email your audience, and this will depend on your niche and on the relationship you have with your audience, and if you're trying to sell a product or a service, etc. It's up for you to decide. I email my audience at least once a week, but it's completely up to you how often you want to email yours. The second thing you want to decide is what your content of your emails are going to be. Now, if you want more guidance on this, like, this email marketing is one of the biggest things that I coach people on when I work with them one-on-one, but also I have a masterclass all about email marketing available in the Creators Club. So if you want further information on any of the stuff that I'm talking about throughout this video, I've got links in my description. I recommend you checking out those two offers. But for now, what I want to recommend you do is spend some time mapping out what you think your audience would want to know from you. Get a list up, get a document up, and start making notes of what you think your audience would want to know. And if you're stuck, then you really need to dive deep into who your audience are and what they need help with. You really want to start creating content which is quite literally designed to help them with anything that they're struggling with, whether it's educational content where you're literally guiding them through a process of achieving something, or whether it's relatable content so they don't feel like they're alone in their struggles, or inspirational content as well. There are so many different routes that you can take it. It's actually quite exciting when you think about it. Maybe only for me because I really like marketing. For me, it's pretty exciting. There's so many different ways that you can take it, but the first thing you want to start doing is writing down some ideas and collating a list. Something to bear in mind when you're writing down all of these amazing ideas that you want to use to kind of inform your email content is the balance between your selling and your value. So again, one of the biggest pitfalls that people fall into is that they just email their audience every time they want to sell something to them. And what that does is condition your audience to believe that you don't actually care about providing value to them. You just want something from them, right? And when that happens, most people will unsubscribe. Now, people unsubscribing to your mailing list is completely normal, but people doing it en masse isn't. And when you're constantly selling to people, that's what's going to happen. People are just going to unsubscribe and they'll never get your email communications again. So what you want to do instead is focus on providing value to your audience first. And when you have something coming up like a campaign, or you're selling something, you've got an offer, whatever it may be, when that happens, then yeah, you can still share valuable emails, but have something at the end where you talk about something that you've got on offer or something that you're selling, right? You're a lot more likely to generate sales when you use this strategy because people will have seen you as someone who provides value. So when you have something to offer, they're a lot more likely to buy from you. One thing that I absolutely love about email marketing is the fact that you can really batch your content. And I am such a firm believer and supporter, that's not the right word, advocate. I just love batching. I love batch creating my content. This is the second YouTube video I filmed today. I'm gonna film another one after this. Like, I love to batch create my content. It is one of the biggest things what helps me manage my workload. And I'm willing to bet that a lot of people watching this video can probably agree with me and say that it's a similar situation for them. So when it comes to email marketing, what's great is that you can always batch create your emails, right? And this works super well if you followed my previous step and you've actually collated a bunch of different topic ideas for your emails, right? So now you've got a list of different topic ideas. All you need to do now is sit down and dedicate the time to writing up all of those emails in advance. I usually recommend doing at least 1 month of emails in advance, but if you've got the time, you could probably do 2 or 3, right? And the thing with most email service providers is that it will allow you to schedule all of those emails in advance. So I can only ever vouch for ConvertKit because that is the one that I use. But on ConvertKit, I literally schedule all of my emails in advance. So I will have at least 1 month's worth of emails done ahead of time, and they just go out by themselves. I don't need to do anything for them, right? It is a batch creator's dream. So definitely look into batch creating your email content if you're serious about email marketing. Okay, let's talk a bit about measurement, because as with everything in marketing and business, you need to make sure that you know how to measure what you're doing, because otherwise you can't optimize what you're doing, you can't improve on what you're doing, and you just don't know if what you're doing is even worth it, right? So obviously this could be, it couldn't even be one video, this could be like several videos in itself. So what I'm gonna focus on for this video is just the key metrics to be aware of when it comes to email marketing. The first is your open rate. Your open rate is quite literally the amount of people or the amount of your contacts who open your emails. This is obviously a very important one, because if you have a low open rate, it means that few people are opening your emails and potentially your efforts might be going to waste. Now, there are simple things you can do if your open rate is low. For example, look at what you're actually titling your emails, because that is usually the thing that grabs your audience's attention and gets them to click on your emails in the first place. But you want to be aiming for about a 30% open rate. It depends on your industry, it depends on how engaged your audience are, and it also depends on how you actually manage to gather your audience's email addresses. So for me, I actually aim for 40% for an open rate. And the reason why is because my industry actually averages out at a higher open rate than a lot of other industries. But also a lot of my email contacts follow me on social media. Like, you might be one of them right now watching this YouTube video, which means that you are already fairly engaged, right? So really, I should be getting a good open rate. I should be getting a fairly high open rate, because a lot of my audience are people who have been following me on social media for a while. So therefore, I've hopefully already established the know, like, and trust factor, which means that I'm going to be getting more opens from my emails than maybe someone who hasn't been creating content for as long as I have. The other metric that you should pay attention to is your click-through rate, which is sometimes abbreviated to CTR. And this is literally the amount of people who are clicking on the links included in your emails. Now, the thing to note about this is if you don't link to external websites or to anything on a regular basis in your emails, then you shouldn't put too much weight on this metric, because if you don't have loads of links in your emails, then obviously there's not a lot of things for people to click on, right? However, if you're someone who sells a product or a service and you know that you quite frequently link to your website or link to your YouTube channel or whatever in your emails, you want to look at your click-through rate, because you want to have a good idea of how many people are actually clicking on your links, right? And if the rate is low, then it's your sign to work on how you're positioning those links. Now, the average click-through rate that you want to be aiming for is between 2 to 5%. But again, as with everything, it does depend on your niche. It depends on the purpose of your emails. It depends on who your audience are and stuff like that. I have a bonus tip for you. Purge your email list. When you get to the point where you are actually gaining a lot of emails, well done, congrats. If I wasn't holding my camera, I would clap for you. When you get to that point where you're gaining a lot of emails and a lot of new contacts, it can feel amazing. And you can get really addicted to the process of just watching your kind of email list number increase. You know, you're like, oh, I've got 100 today. Oh, I've got 400 today. It gets quite addictive and you just want to end up getting more. But I really advise you to exercise caution here, because most email providers like ConvertKit, which is the one that I use, I swear by it, link in the description if you're interested and you're looking for an email service provider. As I mentioned, it's definitely one of my favorites. But with ConvertKit and so many others, you get charged based on how many contacts you have, right? So the more contacts you have, the more money you're paying to have those contacts. So I don't believe it's worth you hoarding all of these email addresses for people who aren't opening your emails. And regardless of which system you use, you will be able to actually look at your contacts and see how many of your emails they open. So what I recommend you do is every quarter quarter, have a look at your email list and get rid of the people who are not opening your emails. If you're emailing someone every single week and after 3 months they've not opened one of your emails, I think it's safe to say that they are not an engaged email subscriber and you could probably remove them, right? And that's just going to save you a bit of money, and it's just going to make sure that your email list is healthy. So that is it for today's video. I really hope you found it useful. If you did, I recommend checking out this video. It's all about my top business growth hacks, and I'm sure you're going to love it and find loads of value from it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you in my next video.